Hello. We're just take two. We're just gonna, what's it called? Do a few games, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna try to get back to my normal routine, which is stream on Thursdays and Sundays. Maybe Saturday, because what's it called? My streamer friends want to do a collab stream and play some games, but that's if I'm not busy, because I have plans on Saturdays. But Saturday, I mean this Saturday coming. But we will be doing. I'll probably do one on Sunday. I want to get back into the swing of things, so yeah, this is it. Let's get some music on. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but I can hear it. Sleepy is in the chat, so Ali said hi. He says he's waving at me right now to wave at you, but obviously my camera's not on. But yeah, we're waving at you. And also, my game probably will lag, because that's what always happens when I play Fortnite. Hold on, I need to sort something out in my chat. Okay, it should be fine now. Okay. Alright, there we go. Okay. Sleepy, you have 5 coins now? That's a crazy amount. You know what? It's only the music that's bugging me. There we go. Oh my god, that's so much nicer. I can hear myself. Right. 0 build, solos. If it lags, it lags. I don't know. I can't really fix it. But I just want to at least play a few games. I also have a bunch of games that I've recently purchased and have been gifted, actually, that I wanted to do sometime soon. Like, there's this cute painting game I got, and also a like puzzle game. Is it an ad? I like different food types. Oh, wait, no, I want to see what the others say. Restore shield. Sure. Hey, I thought I made this back into windowed full screen. Okay. Okay. We go. Oh my god. It is loud. If it lags, then maybe I'll play the other game. Maybe I'll play some. Maybe I'll play Disney Dreamlight Valley. It is lagging, isn't it? Whatever. It's fine. As I was saying, I like to drop in this house. Exactly this house. Oh, I did not mean to press that yet, but it's fine. We'll make it. Maybe I'll show you guys my other game. I've been playing a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley. Oh no, there are people here. Fine. Are they landing in my house? Are they landing? Where are they landing? Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go in the other house, because what the heck? What is this? Is this one of the bendings? Oh god, please give me. Oh, it's earth bending. I don't want earth bending. It's like my least favorite one. It'll do for now though, because... Oh, this is perfect. Look at this. All shields are ready. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. I don't know how to use earthbending. Like this is... Oh. Oh! That's so... Ew. I don't want this. Thank you. Thank you very much. This house looks different. Where am I? Oh. Okay, there's always a chest in this house, either in the bathroom or... Oh. Or what's it called? Upstairs in the roof. Yeah, Clara's my favorite to play with. I always have her equipped. And... yeah. She's so cute. Why is her shield just on top of there? Oh shit, there's people. Hello, friends. Hello. Where'd he go? I thought I saw him go up the stairs. Oh, there's two people! No thank you. Okay, okay. Fuck this shit! Ah! Eat the banana! Come back then. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Why do I have the easiest lobbies when I'm not streaming, and then when I am streaming, I get this shit? Was it lagging? Oh. Okay. Fuck Fortnite, guys. Fuck Fortnite. Hold on. Oh. Hopefully this won't lag. I have not played this game. Oh. I have not played this game on my laptop in ages. I've been playing it on the Switch. But I really want to play it on stream. I've given up. I've given up with Fortnite. Is that for Fortnite? Because I feel like I'm too angry right now to play Fortnite. Let's just run around aimlessly and collect things in this game because it's so cute. Am I missing one? No! I missed them! I could have got so many coins from that. Oh yeah, I offsetted my time zone so it's daytime because normally it like aligns with like what time it is in my like where I am right now, like in the UK. And right now it's dark and I don't like playing in the dark. So I always offset my time to be more than it is. Okay. Oh shit. I've been playing on the Switch for too long, I forgot what the controls were. I was doing this quest and then I like stopped playing it for a couple days and now I forgot what I was doing. Like in the top corner, which is behind my name, which is behind my face right now. Let me hold on. Let me just move this down here so you guys can see my, what is it called? My goals there. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't speak. Okay. That should work. Yeah, so my quest that I was doing, I forgot what I was up to because it says like get it from the Glade of Trust, the peaceful meadow, the forest of the law, blah blah blah, right? And I did that. I did 2 out of 3, but now I don't know where I was to get the third one. So I don't know which, you know, which place I was at. So I've kind of just given up. No, but let's go look at the store because, you know, this store I don't need to pay actual money for. I find it very funny how the mannequins are literally naked, but this skirt is 10,000. Oh my great googly. Oh my god, these are so cute. These are so cute. Wait, how much are they? Oh, I can get that. Wait. There's matching.
Hello.
No, I can't do that. That's 10,000.
Thank you kindly.
I'd rather not right now. And you get like furniture and stuff, guys. Look how cute. Let's put... I don't know what the buttons are anymore in this game. How to do it? I. There you go. What did I buy again? Oh yeah, these. Oh my god, they're so cute. Let's go. We're gonna have to go fishing.
A minute of your time? Humans are amazing. They discover, they create. Look at this place.
Actually, if we look at my quests, maybe I could do like a quest or two and then end the stream. Yeah, what's this say? Return Melon's notes to him. Cook a 5-star meal. Cook the following. I quite like doing Ursa's quests because I like Ursula. And I got the bundle, so that means like I get what's it called? Her version when she's Vanessa. I need my lobster. Don't tell me I sold the lobster. Oh my god. No, I didn't. Okay. How do I make sushi? Sushi. What? Is this sushi? Wait, that's not sushi. Sushi? It says sushi. Okay, I guess like this is sushi because it says sushi. This is sushi. They didn't tell me. Oh. Sushi's like rice, so maybe wheat? No, that's not. Maybe I can't do this yet. Oh, I did not mean to sit down. This is my room though, guys. It's so cute, right? I have this is meant to be a window, but like you can't see out of it. I have a harp. I have my gaming chair, of course. This is like a dream gaming chair. And then gaming stuff that came with like Wreck-It Ralph. This chair is my favorite chair. It's purple, and also this radio does play music, but I turned down the music right now. But it plays like Disney music, of course. This room is going to be my storage room eventually when I learn how to make a storage room. And my kitchen, I bought it. I either bought this or I was given it. Do I even know what? No, okay, that's fine. We are not gonna do this quest. We will do Merlin's quest because I already have his notes. Oh, he's right there.
All right now, we have work to do.
Give him his notes.
Oh, hello. Yeah.
Must be important wizard business. What are all these about? They're just gibberish. Let's ask him what it's about because I want to know.
Most befuddling.
Oh, so we have Mother Gothel and Ursa, which majority of you know, like, they're evil. So them two being together just means they're not up to anything good. They're scheming together. I trusted that Ursula. So they must be up to no good. Sounds suspicious, but we need proof. Probably nothing even. I think we need to get proof before we say anything.
Well.
Oh, they do trust me. I forgot about that. See, if you can play this game in like a different way, like you can either be like going down the villain route or, you
Ah,
know, trusting. I'm kind of curious now too, that's what I'm gonna say.
ah, yes.
Oh my god, of course it's raining. I hate when it rains in this game. I have to wait till tomorrow. Is this like in real life tomorrow? I'm gonna have to come back. Oh my god.
I tip my hat to you. Though I prefer not to take it.
I just like make it go to tomorrow. Oh yeah, I forgot I have an umbrella. Right, so we can't finish that quest. I don't really want to cook. I don't want to build. I don't want to go to that yet. So I don't know what quest I want to do. I guess we can do this. 5-star meals. Are we gonna need this, 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 this? Just double check my other storage. Oh, hello! Answers War. Oh, thank you for the look. Have a great day with your partner. That sounds like a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a lot of good times. It's good to see you. Okay. Let's go and cook. Can I cook in my own thingy? No, we have to cook a 5-star meal, which is this one, or this one, or this one. Oh, we can do this one. Ranch salad. But we need those specific vegetables, or ratatouille. Which one do we want to do? Veggie casserole. No, that's only 4 stars. Ratatouille. Okay. I don't know what salad I have and I don't have. Do I have... I don't have any peppers. Okay, I'm gonna move some of these stuff over because I have too much stuff in my bag right now. Do I have a pile of coal in here? No, actually I need my coal to cook. Put that... Oh, I have too many of these now. Okay, we can sell the leftovers. Put that there. Put my iron there. And then I'm gonna sell this stuff actually. And yeah, okay. I love my room though because it's purple. I love purple. We'll sell the rest of those. I have so many fish. I forgot what like recipe to do. We need to choose one so I know exactly which one I want to make. Oh, I did not mean to press that. 5-star. I can make this. But I don't want to use my lobster. Let's see what it will do. Oh! Okay, we can do this one. Yay! Oh, now I don't have any more shrimp. We need to choose a different one to do. Fuck, okay. Guess what time for fishing. Let's bring, what's his name? Goofy. He better not be sleeping because I need him right now. Why does it have to rain? It always rains. It's like this game knows that I'm British, like.
Good morning to you.
What the heck is this? A here and there fish? What the heck is that? Why does it look like that? Oh my god. Okay, let's hang out. Let's go. We're gonna go fishing in the rain. Pray that it's a shrimp. Oh, and it's not shrimp. Okay. We need some more of these clams. Oh, I did not mean to go in here. This is Donald's house. Donald is so goofy, but like, I can't say that because his best friend's goofy. And then it just sounds like I'm saying that he's goofy, like as in the dog goofy. Does that make sense? No, probably not. I hate when it rains in this game. If anybody knows how to stop it from raining in this game, please tell me. Because I hate when it rains in this game. And in general, actually. Rain just sucks. What is this? Oh! I'm stuck. Oh! I unlocked a quest. That's fine. You could probably do that at some point. But at the moment, we gotta focus on fishing for some shrimpy shrimp. I don't know much about the game, I can't lie. I just run around and hope for the best. Huh? Fuck. My inventory's full. Right, let's go sell some stuff. Oh, I didn't mean to press that one. That's fine. Also, with this game, I just get very distracted. I start doing something else when I'm in the middle of something. I'm gonna sell some stuff to Goofy.
Hey there.
Okay. Now we have more space.
Ooh.
And we can go get our fish that we dropped. But to be fair, it wasn't a shrimp, so I don't really care about it. I just want shrimps. Oh, but...
Good morning, angelfish.
Okay, never mind. Let's see where we can find potatoes. The Forgotten Lands, the Grove, the Lagoon. None of the places that I have unlocked, of course. Of course. So, I can't even do that. Okay, whatever. Maybe, what's his name? Sells it.
Oh,
No,
greetings, neighbor.
I didn't mean to press that.
Thank you kindly.
He doesn't sell potatoes. He only sells this stuff. What do I need to make ratatouille? Hold on. I could potentially do this one. Hold on. Or this one. No, actually. I can't do that one. Where's onions? Oh, lines? Oh, yeah. Where's our galore? I could probably just do that with them. Let me just double check. What's it called? White shallots. So we need lettuce, peppers. Oh, peppers. Oh, I can. Okay. We're gonna need to go get... I might need to write this down. Lettuce, peppers, corn, tomatoes. Lettuce, peppers, corn, tomato, onion. Alright, let's go. And we can get some from the forest. I think that's what it said. Oh, Goofy, why are you right there? Where is my mouse? Oh, hello? Okay. Okay, do I try to... Do I buy this from him? Some peppers and just like...
Howdy.
Whoa. Plant it myself. And where can I get onions from? Forest of Galore. Galore. Peaceful Meadows. And I just bought peppers. So, what do I have? Peppers. Let's go plant them while we do the rest of it. I have not played this game in a while. My things have like disappeared. In my head, I needed 4, so I did 4. Oh yeah, that's my capybara, by the way. It's my little pet. What am I doing here? I need to get rid of this. The size. I'll put it in the other one actually. This fish can just go in here. Let me go look at my other chest real quick. And then put this away because I don't need to carry it right now. Oh, it's so full. Yeah, that'll do for now. Do I have lettuce? No, I need to grow some. I need to get some lettuce as well, actually. Oh, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I see your name has Disney in it, and I love that because I love Disney. I've recently just started playing this game, so I'm sorry if I don't know what I'm doing, but I am loving it. How many letters do I need? 3 again.
Wow!
I need to figure out how to get onions because he doesn't sell them. Maybe I need to like upgrade his thingy, but then I have to spend more money. Oh. Haven't done my daily grind yet, to be fair. I've just kind of hopped on to getting like quests done straight away. Let's water them. Oh, they've already been watered. I forgot it was raining. I was become so accustomed to the fact that it's raining that I forgot it was raining. I don't like when it rains in this game. Why can't I? Oh my. Okay, yeah. Let's just do some foraging and stuff and get some stuff to sell. Yeah, because then we can probably upgrade the store, like Goofy's store in the other land. Oh, that's not what I pressed. Oh, I leveled up, guys. Level 24! Yay! What's this? What is this? Got a new item. And we also unlocked a memory. Oh, it's Encanto. I love Encanto. When I got Mirabelle, I was so happy. Like, it's literally my comfort Disney movie. I was so happy when I got Mirabelle. Also, this song is by Aries. If you guys know who he is, he just dropped his, like, deluxe album version of one of the albums he released. Was it 5 years ago or something? Oh my god, Goofy is oh my god, he was just lagging. If I upgrade this guy, oh, I didn't mean to press that, but if I upgrade that, will it give me onions? I just need some onions. How much is it to upgrade it?
Hello.
Fuck it. They give me onions, that's all I'm telling you. I've been scammed! I have been scammed! Where am I meant to get onions from then? Actual scam? Actual scam! What is this? Do I need to upgrade it again?
Huh?
No! No, no, I'm getting scammed. I'm getting scammed right now. Wait, let me Google this. What is this place called? Forest of Valor. Oh, it does. It does give onions. I just have to pay another 7k.
Huh? Hey!
Back. I'm broke, guys.
Thank
Onions! Oh, and we have to buy it and plant it ourselves. This is amazing. Get out of my way now. Go away.
How's it going?
I'd like to buy... Oh, what? What the frick? I'm getting scammed. This game's scamming me, please. I need the onions, guys. We need to make the foods. Oh, wow. He's already harvestable. Okay, I don't know how long the others will take, though. Okay, something I also found out was that I can craft my own chests. I need stone. I have no stone. Oh. Do I not have any stone in my thingies? Do I sell all the stone I ever pick up? Oh my god. This is so... How am I that bad at this every game, guys? Oh my god. Okay. While that is waiting to harvest, we're gonna go get some stone. Okay, Goofy, I don't need you anymore because we're not fishing anymore. So, I need somebody else. Mirabelle, where are you? Mirabelle. Oh, she's in her house. Look at this house, by the way, guys. Why is it huge, right? It's huge, right? You go inside. It's smaller than my house. And my house is tiny, but it's huge inside. Alright, let's go, Mirabelle. You're my bestie. Favorite. Okay, we've got to collect 50 stone. And then we can make a chest. Also, I have a collection of these Mike Wazowski bags, by the way. I'll show you guys in a moment. Nightmare Before Christmas. I can't wait to unlock the characters from that. Okay, let me show you my bags. I have the green one. I have the blue one. And I have the red one. Right, we're gonna change to blue because my headband is like blue. But which blue? Oh, I like this, Loki. Maybe this one, and then we just take off. We change the necklace. There you go. There we go. I love it! Yeah, they keep saying good morning to me, even though it's like 10 PM, because I put my clock forward. Otherwise it'd be dark right now. But I would prefer it to be dark than raining, I can't lie. Yeah. I finished one of my, like, you know that feeling when you finish a show and then you just don't know what to do with yourself anymore? That's me right now. I finished a show that I was super excited to see season 2 of. And I don't know if season 3 is happening, but I really hope it does because there was so much left unanswered. And I'm pretty sure the reason why I was surprised there was a season 2 out and I didn't know about it was because... Oh yeah, I forgot to unlock this place. Sorry. I'm getting distracted. The reason I didn't really know that there was a season 2 coming out was because I think I read somewhere that it was cancelled and I was like quite sad. But then they released season 2, so I'm like quite happy. And I'm probably gonna rewatch it like tonight because I'm actually so sad it's finished. Like I finished it. I literally finished it in like 2 days because it's so good. And I mean, the name of it is Heartbreak High, if anyone's wondering. And I don't know why I started watching it thinking like I wouldn't get upset because it's literally called Heartbreak High. Like, my heart is broken. Why can't I get rid of this? Oh. Oh, there's one here. Okay. But yeah, there's this couple in the show where they're just so, like, one of them's like part of like a gang and he's like really roadman, but they don't call them roadmen in Australia. They call them Ashes. So yeah, he was like that, and then there was this other character who they are gay, and they ended up dating the Eshe guy and bringing out the better in this guy and helping him get out the gang and like really have a purpose that isn't just causing chaos and doing illegal shit. And you know the Eshe guy, Cash, his name's Cash, he's so cute. He looks so scary. Like if I ever saw someone like that on the streets, I'd be scared for my life. But he's the sweetest. He was just like, you let me, like, I'm comfortable with you. You let me be myself or something. You bring out, I don't know what he even said. Oh, fuck. But it was like the cutest thing. And now I just want to rewatch it to watch them because I actually cried. Like I literally cried when they had their first time. That's how emotional I felt about them and like attached I felt to them. Like yeah, if you ever watch it and you see that scene, you'll know why it's so funny because they were literally like making love and I'm just there sobbing. Anyway, the rest of the show of season 2 was a bit different, like very different to season 1, I can't lie. Very different vibes, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. The characters are all very lovable. And I love the way they put, like, depict things, like, that happen in real life. Yeah, I've not really been in the mood to, like, what's it called, watch shows recently. And so when this came out, I was like, I really want to watch that, which is like the first time I felt like that for a while. Like my boyfriend wants to watch like a bunch of like different shows and animes, but I just been like not in the mood to watch anything. Not even movies. Like I just don't want to watch anything. But then I feel like because I watched Heartbreak High like ages ago, it felt a bit like a, what's it called, comfort show in a way, because the characters, I knew them and like I knew the dynamics of the group in the show, and so watching it was very comforting. I'm not the type of person to really start new shows unless they give like the similar vibe to a show that I already really like. And I don't know, I really like rewatching stuff and oh, it stopped raining, I just realized. But yeah, I really like rewatching things that I enjoyed, like that show and other shows like that are nostalgic, you know? But I probably will rewatch season 1 and 2 of that show this weekend because I really want to watch the dynamic. And also when I did watch season 2, I didn't really remember what was happening in season 1, and I didn't rewatch season 1 because my sister wanted to watch it with season 2 with me. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I went on a call with her, and then I was like, what the hell is happening? Because I forgot what happened in season 1. But it'll be cool to watch season 1 and season 2 back to back and like really understand it from that. But season 2 is definitely so different to season 1. I'm definitely yapping now, but you know what? It's good because I always see tips on TikTok where it's like, you just need to talk through your stream even if no one's talking to you. And that is what I'm doing. I feel like a madman, but it's fine. I'm enjoying my conversation with myself because, you know, I love the show. And I really wanted to make an edit of it, but then every time I watch scenes of like the couple I was talking about, it made me so emotional. Like I literally wanted to go on TikTok and watch a bunch of edits of the show, but then I just kept sobbing and I was like, I need to stop because I'm just gonna keep sobbing in my bed. But yeah, I do like to edit videos, and especially like of shows that I enjoy, so may do that. If my sister was saying she's gonna make a scene pack of the show, so you know, might see that, might see a sneaky edit. I don't really post it on my some name TikTok, but I have like this other editing account which I kind of abandoned because I'm busy. Oh yeah, I forgot. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, I don't know if anyone new's joined in. I've been like a break recently, and I had the urge to just randomly stream today. Like, it's not even planned. Even though it's Thursday, and I did start streaming around 9, it was not planned. Like, but you know, it's my usual time to stream anyway, so it's like a sign almost. What the heck is happening? Okay. We still need so many.
Never forget, your imagination is a powerful.
So many more stone. There you go, that's what I'm trying to say. I saw gold like bubbles, so I was like, I'm gonna see what this is. It's a catfish. Oh, the blue bubbles. I'm really liking this outfit actually, I can't lie. Oh. Last night, you said I won, drinks on 2. I don't know the words, guys. I'll be all the way to home, and now I'm home. This song reminds me of like the first summer that me and my boyfriend like were together. He showed me most of the songs that are on my playlist right now. Okay, we got a memory from Princess and the Frog. Oh my gosh, wait, is Princess and the Frog in this? Wait, how do I check? How do I check the characters again? Oh yeah. So Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Encanto, Frozen, Lilo and Stitch. There's only... Oh my god, that's so cute. How do I go back? Oh. Mickey and Friends. We just need to find Minnie. Oh my god, Moana. Monsters Inc. Ratatouille. Tangled. Wait. Whoa. Whoa. They have Mother Gothel, but not Rapunzel. What is this? Anyway. Oh my god, The Lion King. Nala. Ariel. Jack Skellington. Woody and Buzz Lightyear. Okay, so... I'm guessing they're gonna release more characters as the game goes on, right? Surely. Surely, right? Oh, never mind. All areas, Rapunzel. So I guess on Eternity Island... Oh! You find these people. Which is with the DLC, I think. And I have the DLC.
Pleasant morning to you.
Oh! My peppers are finished. No! Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, we need more stones. Because we're gonna try and make some chests. Okay. Give me the stone. Oh. Okay. I think I'm gonna try and cook these 5-star meals and then I will be ending the stream soon. It's only a short one today because it was so spontaneous, but I will be going live on Sunday. We will probably play more chill games because my laptop doesn't want me to play Valorant. I mean, big games like Valorant and Fortnite because it sucks. And you know what? I don't even want to play that on stream. So I have some cozy games lined up. There is one game that I hope I can play that is not a cozy game, but it's a horror game. It's called The Quarry. I bought it a while back, but I haven't played it yet because I wanted to play it on stream. So I'm just gonna hope that it runs. But on Sunday, we'll do some chill streams. I actually kind of neglected my Sims 100 Baby Challenge. So maybe we'll bring that back. What is that noise? Oh. Oh, it's Donald. He's actually so goofy. But like, every time I say he's goofy, it just doesn't sound right because his best friend's goofy. But like, he's goofy as well. Goofier. Nights at the motel and the street lights in the city. Oh. But I have missed streaming, guys, and streaming today spontaneously has made me very much happy that I did stream and very realized how much I missed doing it. even if I am yapping to myself. It's better than gaming alone, honestly, because especially if I did stream Fortnite, solos is fun, but it doesn't mean I don't want to talk to somebody. If you eat 5 raspberries, 6 raspberries, it gives you full health. So I always have raspberries. But I'm sure there's food that are better. But there's always going to be raspberries around for you. So I recommend eating raspberries. Oh my god, look, it's Scrooge and Donald. They're just hashing it out. They were actually full on beefing in one of my other quests. And I was like, damn. Oh! Oh my god, they both just turned and looked at me at the same time. That was terrifying. Why? Hopefully when we do next play though, there will be, our crops will be done and then we can, oh yeah, because we have to wait for our crops. Oh, whatever. How many thingies do I have now? 70? I have way more than I needed. Okay, we can do this now and then... Yay! I can make 2. Let's do it. So apparently this is how you make a storage room. You get these tiny chests. No. Go in that room. And then we'll put them down. So you get you build your own chests. Because then they won't collide. How do I rotate it? There's the opening, okay. Okay. And then we can put stuff in here. I'll sort this out another time, honestly. It will take too much time otherwise. Oh, lol. Transfer that back, actually, because I don't need it. And transfer that back, and transfer that back. And then put the lettuce in there, and the apples in there, and this one in there. Yeah, because we don't need those. Okay. This is my storage room. It's so sad. Okay. Okay, let's go sell these last bits and bobs, and then we will come back on Sunday because it's late here now and I have work tomorrow. But Sunday I'll stream again, and then that's the beginning of my comeback from my break because I have been not streaming for a while now. Yeah, some last things before I do go is I want to show you my capybara. How do I do this again? Look at it! Look at my capybara! It's so cute, man. And they have like the Rapunzel hair. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. I have had a lot of fun, even with the tech issues because of friggin' Fortnite. I probably won't be able to stream Fortnite for a while. I'm gonna have to figure out why it's lagging. If anybody knows why, please pop me a message because I would love to fix it. not that I want to play that game because I will probably rage, but I will play more Disney Dreamlight Valley because I am loving this game at the moment so much. And also some other games that I have recently downloaded, some cutesy games. Like I have this cute painting game and I think I want to do that one. And horror games. You might see another surprise stream from me on Saturdays because I normally do like Saturdays as an optional stream day, but not 100% sure yet because I do have plans on Saturday. But Sunday for sure I will be back, and it's been good to see you all again. I've really enjoyed it, and all the new faces, and for the sub as well from Turbo. I appreciate you all, and this is the beginning of our new chapter together. Hopefully we'll be more consistent. Hopefully. We'll see. Do make sure to check out my other socials. Do I? Nope. Nope. Okay. This scene. All my social handles is maybe some name, and I do post basically daily TikToks and YouTube shorts. I try to use Twitter as much as I can, but I've never used Twitter until this moment, so I don't really know what I'm doing on there, but you know, you'll probably see a random tweet from me. And then Instagram as well. I post a reel every day. I try to anyways. But yeah, do make sure to check that out and pop me a message if you have any questions about streaming or have any tips for how I can fix my Fortnite. Anyways, I have enjoyed this a lot and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.